The history of the Philippines is rich and varied, extending far beyond the arrival of the Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan in 1521. The archipelago, consisting of over 7,000 islands, has been home to diverse cultures and civilizations that have shaped its social, political, and economic landscapes. From prehistoric times through the development of intricate trade networks and sophisticated societies, the history of the Philippines before Magellan is a fascinating tale of human ingenuity and resilience. The earliest human presence in the Philippines dates back to approximately 67,000 years ago, as evidenced by the discovery of the Calao man remains in Calao Cave on the island of Luzon. These early inhabitants were likely hunter-gatherers who lived off the land, utilizing stone tools and other primitive technologies. By around 40,000 years ago, the Taban man appeared in the Palawan region, marking another significant phase in the prehistoric era of the Philippines. These early humans were anatomically modern and are believed to have migrated from mainland Asia during periods of lower sea levels. The Neolithic period in the Philippines began around 4000 BCE with the arrival of Austronesian-speaking peoples. These early settlers introduced agriculture, pottery, and other advanced technologies to the islands. They practiced slash-and-burn farming and cultivated crops such as rice, taro, and yam. The Austronesians brought with them the use of polished stone tools and pottery, marking significant advancements in material culture. Their settlements were typically located near coastal areas and river valleys, providing access to both marine and terrestrial resources. One of the most distinctive features of pre-colonial Philippine society was a barangay system. A barangay was a small, independent village or community, typically consisting of 30 to 100 families. Each barangay was led by a datu chief, who wielded political, economic, and judicial authority. The barangay system facilitated a decentralized form of governance, with each community operating independently. However, alliances and confederations between barangays were common, often for mutual defense or trade purposes. Social hierarchy within barangays was well defined, with nobility, maharlika, freemen, timawa, and dependent classes, alipin. One of the most significant pre-colonial polities in the Philippines was the Kingdom of Tanda, located on the island of Luzon. Tanda was a major trade center that engaged in commerce with neighboring Asian territories, including China, Japan, and the Kingdom of Ryukyu. The kingdom's strategic location at the mouth of the Pasig River allowed it to control valuable trade routes. Tanda's society was highly stratified, with a ruling class of nobility and a system of tribute collection. The kingdom was known for its gold production and skilled craftsmanship, which contributed to its wealth and influence. Chinese records from the Song dynasty mention Tanda as a prosperous and well-organized kingdom. The Rajanate of Butuan, located on the island of Mindanao, was another prominent pre-colonial polity. Butuan was an important center for trade and maritime activities, with extensive contacts with China, India, and other Southeast Asian regions. The Rajanate was known for its production of gold, which was a significant export item. Butuan's maritime prowess is evidenced by the discovery of the balangay boats, ancient wooden watercraft used for trade and travel. The balangay boats highlight the advanced shipbuilding and navigational skills of the Butuanots. Chinese records from the 10th century CE mention Butuan as a key trading partner, describing its rulers as wealthy and influential. The Kingdom of Namayan, also located on Luzon, was another important pre-colonial polity. Namayan's territory extended along the Pasig River and into the surrounding regions, making it a crucial player in regional trade and politics. Like Tanda, Namayan engaged in extensive trade with neighboring Asian territories. Namayan's society was hierarchical, with a ruling class of nobles and a system of tribute collection from its subjects. The kingdom's strategic location allowed it to control access to important trade routes and resources. Namayan is often associated with the legendary figure Raja Kalamayan, who is said to have ruled with wisdom and fairness. The Philippines' geographic location made it a natural hub for trade and cultural exchange. Long before the arrival of Europeans, the islands were part of an extensive trade network that connected Southeast Asia, East Asia, and the Indian Ocean. Chinese trade with the Philippines dates back to at least the 9th century CE. Archaeological evidence, including Chinese porcelain and ceramics, has been found throughout the archipelago. Chinese traders exchanged silk, porcelain, and other goods for Philippine products such as beeswax, gold, and spices. Chinese influence extended beyond trade. Many Filipino words and cultural practices have Chinese origins, reflecting the deep and lasting impact of Sino-Filipino interactions. Some Filipino customs, such as the use of feng shui and certain culinary traditions, can be traced back to Chinese influence. Indian influence in the Philippines is evident in the introduction of Hindu and Buddhist practices, particularly in the southern regions. The spread of Indian culture to the Philippines was facilitated by the Srivijaya and Majapahit empires, which dominated Southeast Asian trade and politics during the first millennium CE. Artifacts such as Hindu-Buddhist statues and inscriptions have been found in various parts of the Philippines, indicating the presence of Indianized cultures. Additionally, certain aspects of Filipino mythology and religious practices show traces of Hindu-Buddhist influence, reflecting the syncretic nature of pre-colonial Philippine religion. Pre-colonial Filipinos practiced a variety of religions and belief systems, often characterized by animism and ancestor worship. They believed in a pantheon of deities and spirits, each associated with natural elements and phenomena. These deities were worshipped through rituals, offerings, and ceremonies conducted by religious leaders known as Magellan or Catalonan. Ancestor worship was a central aspect of pre-colonial Filipino religion. It was believed that the spirits of deceased ancestors could influence the living, providing protection or causing harm. Ancestral spirits were honored through various rituals and offerings, ensuring their continued favor and guidance. The diverse linguistic landscape of the Philippines reflects the complex history of the archipelago. Before Magellan's arrival, the Philippines was home to numerous languages and dialects, belonging primarily to the Austronesian language family. Each region had its own language, with Tagalog, Cebuano, Ilocano, and Hiligaynon among the most widely spoken. Pre-colonial Filipinos also had a rich oral literary tradition. Folk tales, epic poems, and proverbs were passed down through generations, preserving the history, values, and beliefs of different communities. The Hudhud and Durangian are examples of epic poems that have been recognized by UNESCO for their cultural significance. Pre-colonial Filipino society was highly stratified, with a clear hierarchy based on birth, wealth, and occupation. The ruling class consisted of the Datu and their families, followed by the nobility, Maharlika, freemen, Timawa, and dependent classes, Alipin. Social mobility was limited, but individuals could improve their status through marriage, wealth accumulation, or acts of valor. Daily life in pre-colonial Philippines varied depending on social status and region. Agriculture, fishing, and trade were the primary economic activities. Communities were often located near water sources, facilitating access to food and trade routes. Homes were typically made of bamboo and nipa palm, designed to withstand the tropical climate.